Welcome to episode number 7 of the FiberCast Podcast. Today's episode is with Steven. Steven. Sup? Bruh. Sa, dude. We were having some trouble with the Instagram Live because I told them that every episode we go live on Instagram. And it's a very different thing. I think it's pretty cool because then people can actually participate in the conversation and they could tune in. And if they have any questions for me, for you, or if people are like, why the fuck are you sitting down next to a fucking mannequin wearing a t-shirt? You know, like it's kind of weird, but that's the whole process and that's part of the whole show, I guess.
Always go raw.
And then just making sure everything's recording. But yeah, man. So I always start off by asking the guest if they have any experience with podcasting in general. Like, do you consume podcasts? Do you know of any famous podcasts? Like, what's your take on podcasting in general?
I really don't listen to podcasts. I've listened to yours, but besides that, not really.
So no prior experience and like with no.
No, I mean I see it's growing. Like I see people are frequently doing it. I just haven't gotten into it yet.
Why do you think that is? Like, why do you think people are, like, all of a sudden starting to consume more and more podcasts?
It's new. You have to keep branching out. Mm-hmm. It's another form of connecting to people.
It's also like audiobooks too. Like, do you generally prefer to like read a book or listen to a book?
Read a book. I've
hands-on experience.
I've tried listening to it, but I need to write down. I need to like. Yeah.
And you also forget things more easily, I think, you know, because it just goes through one ear and goes out the other, and you don't really process all the information. Have you ever tried reading and listening at the same time? Like listening to an audiobook when the author himself or herself is reading it to you while you follow in a physical copy. Like, dude, that's just like a whole different experience. Like, I've been doing that lately. It's not cost effective because you have to pay for the audiobook and the audiobook is more expensive than the actual book itself. But dude, like, it's well worth it though. It's well fucking worth it.
I could try that out probably.
Nah, for sure. But yeah, one thing that I wanted to start this podcast off is just taking into account the fact that you travel a lot, right?
Yeah, 17 countries.
17 countries. I saw that in your bio, right? And
unless you count the USA. I always ask people, would you count that?
Did you count that?
No.
You didn't? I would count it if you like went to like more than, I don't know, like 20 states within. No?
Uh-huh. It's because like I think about it. Like if I was born like in France, right? And they asked me where I traveled, usually people would count it, right?
Count France?
Yeah, because like I was born there, I lived there, but it's still a travel destination for people. I don't know
if I would call it like traveling. Though.
I don't know. Yeah, you're right. But like, I could say it's places I've been to.
You've been to?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
I feel like it would only count if I moved away, because then it's like, oh well.
Or if you're in Europe and a random stranger approaches you and then he's like, oh, like, how many countries have you been to? And then you state the U.S. into the mix because you've been to the U.S. And then to him, it's considered a travel spot, I guess. But if you were to tell me like, I've been to the U.S., I'd be like, dude, like, like shut up, dude.
So have I.
it's like, well, okay, so I'm a traveler.
Only reason I want to count it is because I'm 19, right? Yep. So with the U.S., it's 18. I'm going to Iceland next week. That would be 19.
Damn.
I can do 19.
19. Damn.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So that's the only reason I really want to count it.
I would do it then. Like in that case, like in that context.
I'm gonna put in my bio. I don't give a shit.
It makes sense. I'm 19, been to 19 countries, and what if you like delayed it until like next year, and then it would be 2019?
No, but last year I was gonna reach 18, but I didn't. No, actually I wasn't gonna. No, I was. Yeah, I was, but I didn't, and I was really disappointed because 18 sounds...
18. Damn. But all right, so how do you do it basically? Because like the first misconception that people have, or preconception, is that traveling is expensive.
Yeah, I mean, right? It is to a certain extent.
It's kind of expensive. I mean, like you have to, like if you were to go to like London, for example, and spend like a week in London, like that's
expensive.
That's kind of pricey.
No,
like,
I've been there. Yeah, it's expensive.
That's over like $5,000 maybe that you spend overall, like with
in a week.
or
It
more?
depends. For example, I fly a lot. I've been flying since I was young.
Just
I think.
bring the mic a little closer. Yeah.
I think my first flight, I was like 9 months to Portugal.
9 months old?
Yeah.
Wow.
So the advantage is, since my family's from Portugal, I can fly to Portugal and then just take a flight to other countries in Europe.
Yeah, because it's all
so it's
close
mad
by.
cheap.
Damn.
Usually you can get flights for $80-$50. What
Yes.
people waste in a night out here, I can go to another country.
So there, it's basically as if you're going to like Hoboken or you're going to fucking
Cost, yeah.
New York City.
Yeah.
If you're going to the city, if you're going to Pennsylvania, maybe like what you waste on gas or some shit like that. Wow. Now, yeah. So I don't know. Like, what was your favorite place out of those 18 places that you've been?
I can't say America.
You get to my bedroom.
I'll say Paris.
Paris.
I don't know. I just felt comfortable there. Like I felt.
Why?
I don't know. It just felt like.
Just the vibe and the people.
You ever
and the,
felt like, how to say, alive? Like I just felt alive. I don't know how to explain it. You ever seen movies where someone moves somewhere and like they're just like,
And then they
it's just like,
go
wow,
outside screaming
the
and
coffee's
jumping.
different, the water's different. Yeah, I just felt like.
Yeah. Did you use drugs there?
Nah.
It's like I just felt alive, dude.
My mom's
That's
on
what I
live
do.
right now. I can't answer that question.
Drugs? Who said drugs, bro? Nah, yeah, for sure. Like I've always wanted to travel. Like I think I've been to South America and here. Like that's
Where in South America?
Brazil, and that's it. Like literally just 2 countries.
I haven't been to Brazil, so you got me.
Brazil's a pretty cool place, man. I mean, if you're going to visit, I lived there for 6 years. I wouldn't recommend living there right now because of just the political instability and stuff. And
Most places in South America is very hard
most
to live
places
now.
right now are crazy, especially. I think it's Venezuela right now. Like that shit is going
shit's
fucking.
crazy.
Oh my god.
Like for example, I'm from Ecuador, so like
Is
we're
it
getting
nearby?
Yeah, it's
'Cause I
nearby
don't know
Venezuela.
about the-
So like a lot of immigrants are coming from Venezuela to Ecuador to
Oh,
work for
okay.
mad cheap
Wow.
because life there is
Just
horrible.
to get the fuck out of
Yeah.
Venezuela. Is the dictator is what's his name again?
If you say you don't know it.
Maduro?
Yeah.
Maduro, right? Yeah. I saw this video. I talked about it on the last podcast, but I just talked about it briefly. This video where they kind of feigned an explosion, I guess, and the dictator was like standing here in front of the people that were protesting, I guess, and then his general was standing to his right, and the camera caught his general's left hand as soon as he did this with his thumb, and he was holding like a staff, like some weird gadget shit, whatever it was. And as soon as he did this, an explosion occurred in front. So then they kind of like made it seem as if it were the people, protesting against the government. And then that would allow the government to even double down on just like the reinforcement and all that shit. And that shit fucking got to me. I was like, fuck, man. Like the world we live in, son, like this shit's so fucking like corrupt and it's all.
Yeah, that's what I always say.
And that's actually one of my favorite subjects. And that's been like a topic of most of the podcasts I've done is just conspiracy theories and how like the government conspires against us and how we, just weird shit. What's your favorite conspiracy theory out of all? Like if you had to like choose one that maybe keeps you up at night, maybe
I don't think
after
I have
you
a
watched it.
favorite one. I don't know.
Just
name
the
a few
most-
and I'll be like, all right, I can agree with that fully.
Have you ever heard about actually wait, have you ever been to Egypt?
No.
No, because I just saw that cover right there, and it reminded me of this conspiracy that I read recently. Do you know how they say that the pyramids of Egypt are what's the name of that shit? Where you bury the
Tombs?
tombs. Yeah, tombs. That they're tombs for like pharaohs and royalty and all that shit, and that they were built specifically for that, and that slaves and tens of thousands of people worked day and night to create those structures just to bury the pharaohs and royalty or whatever. And I saw this theory that kind of but kind of like convinces supports that those were actually structures, energy structures for electricity. And then if you think about it, like, dude, I saw this video. I was on the fucking Stairmaster at the gym, and I do like 30 minutes. And so like I just click like on like crazy 30-minute documentaries and shit and videos, and I just go like, time just flies by, and I'm just like sweating and dying, but I'm like so invested and obsessed with what's going on, and it just blew my mind. Like they explain every single little detail, like how the pyramids are like this, and then there's like underground structures and underground pathways that kind of like lead and kind of like map out the whole region around them. And like, why the fuck would you have that underground passageway if it's just a tomb? And then like a bunch of other shit.
I mean, that makes sense because they've invested a lot to build all that.
And then we're fucking advanced as hell. Like that civilization. And it creeps me the fuck out. Like I legit get goosebumps when I think about how like that just vanished, you know, like out of nowhere. You know, like there was this advanced civilization, and then out of nowhere it's just, you know, like you don't get any traces, you don't get any, and that just freaks me out a bit. Like
that downfall is kind of
that
odd.
downfall, not just downfall, but just that, you know, lack of anything. You know, like it was like on a rise, and then out of nowhere, boom, it's ghost. Like there's nothing there anymore. You know, and they just. Do you believe in aliens? Honestly.
I'm more to the no than yes.
Why?
Actually, wait. I believe in like aliens, maybe, but not in the form that like
people like those.
Yeah, like not
black
like
eyed, skinny,
not like in the TV and shit.
hairless.
Aliens, yeah. Like I believe there's
Just
probably there's another life forms outside of Earth. Yeah, that's for sure.
But they're not necessarily like humanoids. Like
no, how they look, I don't know. Like
similar to us. That's actually interesting. Where did I read this? I read somewhere that typical stereotypical figure, right? That big head, weird black eyes, small mouth, skinless, not skinless, hairless. That is a subconscious thing that our brain has developed in order to kind of prep us for what's yet to come. In a sense where that's going to be our final form, in a sense, with the advancement of technology, with everything that's coming, especially with technology, AI, people won't need to do certain things. Yeah. So we're going to get to a point where we don't have to do much, and then technology is going to do everything for us. And then like that's going to be our form, and then our bodies are going to adapt over time, because then like the alpha male, the strong muscular guy, like there's no need for that anymore. And then your energy can be redirected and repurposed into like a more cognitive side of things, and that's where your brain kind of gets larger, because you're going to start thinking more,
using it more.
Yeah, because then you don't have to, you know, do physical
activities. It'll probably be like a muscle.
When
you use it more, it gets bigger, so your brain
gets bigger, and then you're going to just use your mind, because then technology is going to advance, and then you're going to get more information, and then you're going to integrate with technology, because I think that's coming too. It's like integrating with technology, you know, and it kind of already happens with all of those people that are that don't have legs or, you know, or arms and stuff, and then they have like bionomic arms and legs and stuff, and like that's already happening.
Like I heard, I think they're working on a kidney made out of a like it would be a mechanical kidney.
Really?
Yeah.
Like completely mechanical.
Yeah.
So basically, it would be like a filter then, right? Because
basically.
That's what the kidney does, I guess.
Yeah, because that's like the main function. So I guess that's kind of easy to replicate a little bit. Like easy, it's not that easy, but like
it's like I could do it right now if you want me to do it. You want me to do it live? I can do it right here. It's like fuck it. Yeah, nah, for sure. And like they also say that like when you're just born, they also say that that's what you see. So when you're being born, I guess, and you're coming out of your mother, the person that's holding you, like that's what you see with the hospital lights. You see like strong lights, and you see that form, the alien form, and that's where they say also, like that's another theory of where we got that specific form from. It's like it's been implanted.
Yeah. That's the first thing you see.
The first thing you see.
First human form you see.
And your eyeballs aren't like fully developed in like color and everything. So like maybe that's what you like. That's the image of the doctor that everybody sees, or the nurse, or the practitioner, or whatever. And then like you come out, and then
or the
you
taxi
see that.
driver.
taxi driver with the drug dealer. I'm not gonna judge anybody, bro. But yeah, and like that, like these things fucking creep me the fuck out. It's just weird. Like I'll go like.
No, I get you. It's like
minutes. Like
you think you know the world, but
you don't. You don't.
Like,
is anybody asking anything? Like is
no?
anybody
I've checked.
No.
People come and go.
People come and go, man.
That's
life.
life.
That's life right there. But yeah, man. What were your thoughts when I just reached out of nowhere and was like, "Yo, like, let's do a podcast"?
I don't even remember. It's been like a like when you first asked. It's
Been a while
ago.
because I've been trying to like, pick it back up and then have it start rolling and stuff.
I mean, you asked and I was just down, but I don't remember exactly like how you asked.
100% how. Yeah. Let's talk about brand development as well, because I know that we talked about it before, and I just want to like get your take on like what's your brand development strategy, because I know that you're trying to specialize in the men's fashion section, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to produce like content in that section and trying to like evolve in that market, I'd say, right?
I get
And Alex Costa. Costa. How did you find him out? Like, where did you find out about him?
YouTube, yeah. I knew he did gaming because I looked at his old videos where he started.
That's when I started following him. When he started to do doing gaming videos in Portuguese, I think even. I
knew he did gaming because it was odd. I was watching a video and I knew he worked for YouTube. And in YouTube, I think he just did gaming. He didn't do men's fashion yet. Like, that's his job. It was gaming. So I'm like, that's odd. Like,
that's weird.
Where'd you get that experience from? Then I looked at his videos. I'm like, oh, all right.
Yeah. It was really interesting watching him specifically because, just like I told you, like, it was a gradual thing. Like, he kind of evolved into it. Just like you said, like, he wasn't a guy that came out on YouTube and started doing men's fashion.
But he saw that need, and he's like, well...
He saw that need, and maybe he liked it. Yeah. And then he started out with, like, gaming channels, which is something easily catches on fire because, again, it's all about associating yourself with something that is already popular. Yeah.
And people have to relate to it.
Yeah. And then, like, for example, if you start a gaming channel and then you start playing God of War, and God of War just came out, and then you start doing, like, walkthroughs, and then people that don't even know who you are going to watch those videos, and if they don't think your voice is, weird or just fucked up, and they like how you play and stuff, and then boom, and then you got a new follower, a new subscriber, and then the next game comes out, and then boom, 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 boom. And I did something similar to that with my YouTube channel where I was like doing videos in Portuguese because I kind of found that there was a big need for that. Because people like escaping, right? So there's a lot of escapism. And everybody has their own escapism. Like maybe you like going to the gym to just clear your head. Like movies. Yeah. Some people resort to drugs, unfortunately. Some people resort to
I don't do that, Mom.
Various different things. I said drugs again? Like, who said drugs?
That's twice already in half an hour.
Come on, Bob. Mom's on, man. But yeah. And, it's just that escapism thing. And one of the main things that I like taking into account is just putting myself in other people's shoes. Like the person that's going to consume my content. Like, I'm the most self-deprecating and critical person towards myself that exists, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's more of that 8 Mile strategy, kind of, where you have to like criticize yourself as much as possible, just like Eminem did. He just poured everything out so nobody else could have, that weapon towards you.
Anything that they would say, you're solving already.
And then you're already exposing it. And since it's coming from you, people actually respect it because then people are like, whoa, like he has balls to actually talk about that. To actually talk about that. And that's what people don't do. And people do the opposite. They put a filter on their problems. They put Photoshop their problems, and then they post it out on social media, and everybody's life is perfect. Everybody has a perfect relationship. Everybody has perfect friends. Nobody's depressed, all that shit. And then that's what pisses me off the most, because like I see through that a little bit. I'm like, like come on, like let's be sincere.
Yeah, I feel like there's a difference. Like I don't try to emphasize perfection. I just try talking. Yeah, because I just feel like.
Push it.
I got you.
Yeah.
Showing that side of like the depression or the bad moments for some people might be hard. It's not like they just want to show the good moments. They're just trying to show whatever they feel comfortable, I guess.
Doing.
Because I guess people won't care sometimes. You might think they don't care. So like, why show it? Even though it could be relatable. You get me?
Exactly. I think that is the case, and people are afraid. I think people are soft now. People are really soft because they just feel easily hurt. I'd say like these comments that you see on Twitter or whatever, like people bashing you or people criticizing your shit and people telling like, fuck you, kill yourself, you know? When you realize that those are people that have bigger problems than you do, then you start changing your perspective. Like I see those comments, for example, and I feel sorry for that person because that person is clearly hurting and they're just trying to deal with
they're coming from a side of hate. That's what I see.
And pain.
Yeah.
Most of the time. It's just internal, emotional pain. Maybe that person suffers on a daily basis. Maybe that person's been abused by their father, their mother. You don't know what people are going through, right? But that's what I try to do. So even like the haters and the people that I should be like showing the middle finger to, like I'll offer a helping hand. Like I'll be like, dude, like, do you want to talk about something? You know, like, do you want to open up? It's like, no, fuck you, man. Fuck you. I hate your videos, man. Your videos suck. I'm like, all right, dude. But, you know, thanks. You know, it's.
You still watched it.
You still watched it. I still got that feel though. But that's what people don't understand. And I think that once you start, do you do any type of meditation?
I knew you were gonna ask that. Yeah, because you built up to it. That's why I was like, he's gonna say it.
Breathing exercises.
No, I feel like I should. I see the benefits out of it. I just haven't started it. I don't know. I don't know. It's just like the idea comes to my head. I'm like, okay, I should start it, and then it goes away. Like let's say the next morning that I should start it, it just doesn't come back to my brain.
Does that happen only with meditation, or do you also have that trouble with like new ideas and new projects that you're gonna start, and then like you have that idea, and then you're excited about it, and then 5 minutes later you're like, oh fuck, I'm just gonna watch TV.
It's not like like the meditation I forget. The other ones I might just push off a little or like wait for the right time instead of just doing it right then. That's different than like the meditation. I just forget. Like if you don't remind me, it'll go a while until like I see someone else recommend it, and I'm like,
and then you remember again. And
maybe I'm like I should start it, and then like I'm like I don't know where to start, and then the next day I'm like I forgot it.
What is your take on like just starting shit? Like, are you the type of person that contemplates a lot, like thinks like? For example, you have an incredible idea right now.
Yeah.
And then you start thinking, and then
like I don't do it to like I do it, but like I'm not the type of person to go straight into it. Like I have to like think about it, think how to do it the best way possible right now. Like I know you can't get perfection. Like if you're aiming for perfection, you're never gonna do anything.
You're never gonna get out.
Yeah, but I do try to see if that's something I really want, because in that moment you might think you want it, but like you have to contemplate and think like, all right, is this going towards the right path? Like, is this exactly what I want, or is it just like that feeling I had in that moment?
Momentary, that roller coaster of emotions that comes to you, and then you think it's the right idea, you think it's the right thing, and then
or you feel like that's what I should do, like that's what they like want me to do, or like that's what you think is like where you have to go, but like there's a whole entire different route you could take. You just have to open like that route.
Yep. Do you trust your gut?
Yes, 75%.
75%.
Like, there's sometimes like I'll like trust it, but then I'm like I could just be wrong. Like like let me think a little bit about it, because it could be avoidable
before
if
you
I just
take that leap.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think that's bad. I think you can't fully always trust your gut.
No, for sure not.
You have to think things out. Because as you say, perspective, like my perspective at that time could be go all in, but like talk to me in an hour and I'll be like, nah.
Because then you'll be calmer and you're
not in the moment.
Less emotion and stuff. Because I think that emotion clouds reason, right? Like that's like one of the biggest problems that most people have, you know, and that's why gambling is so attractive, and that's why you know, just all of these momentary things. Is anybody on?
It's just 2 people.
I
keep seeing people join, and I don't know if the number's wrong, but it's just 2 people.
Are there any questions?
No, no questions.
No? Okay.
Should we write a question? Like save it as a pin it?
I'm about to get my phone. Yeah, just but what question should we ask them?
Ask any topics or questions to talk about.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know how to do that.
Just pin it.
Like, do I write it and then just pin it?
Yeah, write it, and then it should give you the option to pin it, because I've never pinned it before. But it should give you like the option to pin. And for those of you who are listening and not watching the video, we are currently going on Instagram Live, and we are writing a question for everybody that wants to tune in.
I don't know how to pin it. Like I wrote it, but it doesn't pin.
is there an option like telling you to pin? Wait, you joined my live, right?
Yeah, I think you have to do it.
Yeah. So I'll have to do it real quick.
Yeah.
So hold up, guys. If you're listening to this right now, I'm just gonna get my phone. Real quick, hold up. About what were we talking about? The
Emotions.
gut feeling.
No, emotions. We got into emotions.
Emotions.
How gambling and all that. Emotions play
Gambling
with
and
it.
just momentary leaps without rationalizing, without thinking
That's why,
about stuff.
you got to be careful when you make decisions because your
Yeah.
emotions can cloud your judgment.
Cloud reason and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. I want to kind of segue and kind of take a 180 right now. Are you in college?
Yeah.
What are you studying in college?
Marketing.
Marketing?
I started off with finance, and then I guess this last semester or 2 semesters, I went towards marketing.
Where at?
Rutgers, Newark.
What's your opinion on college?
I don't think it's needed.
Really?
Like, I think it's needed if you want to be like a doctor or a lawyer. Like, it's up to your profession.
If it's like a more technical thing.
I mean, if my doctor tells me I didn't go to college, I'm like, all right, get the fuck out. I don't know what you're doing.
It's like open heart surgery.
Yeah, no, like, I don't
by the
know.
way.
Like, there's some, like, majors that I'm like, you don't need it. Like, I mean, I guess it depends on the person, though.
Yeah, because a lot of people kind of need that push.
Yeah,
and
and
kind of need people to like hold them accountable.
And I always say, like, at 18, it's hard to make decisions, like, life-changing decisions.
Right.
Like, and sometimes you feel pressure, like, I got to do it now, because if I'm not successful by 24, I'm a failure.
And I have to go down this route because my parents and my professors
like,
and
that route is already chosen. It's easier. Like, I'll reach my goals by 24, 25.
It's all pre-established.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to that whole comfort thing, I think. You know, it's like, what's comfortable? It's hard for you to actually think for yourself.
Yeah, because you're like, my friends are going to college. Why I have to go, I guess.
Yep. It's just crowd mentality. And I'm really huge on that, too. Like, I've been, you know, like, kind of... Because generally speaking, I'm really huge on psychology in general. Because that helps me a lot, like, in the business scenario.
Yeah, if you understand people, you can...
And you have, like, if you understand people, if you understand how people think, if you understand the human brain... Dude, like, you'll be able to, like, manage your way through any room, basically, right? Like, you could drop me in, like, I always tell this to everybody, like, everybody that knows me knows this because I always say it. You could pick me up and drop me in, like, in any room, and I'll be able to, like, know what are the best ways of kind of moving through that room. And I think
confronting the situation, yeah.
Exactly. So, I call it, like, managing chaos. So I enjoy managing chaos, you know, like I'm very comfortable under pressure. So when a lot of people are like stressing out and pulling their hairs, I'm like trying to like, you know, like what are the possibilities? What are
my options?
The possible outcomes? If we do this, this will happen, and then this, you know. And I think that comes a lot from like empathy in general because I love deploying empathy. And that actually leads me into another thing that I don't know if the people watching this know this. But I don't know if you ever saw this, but I like writing raps. Like,
I've seen it. Yeah.
Random like random raps. Like I'll be literally like if I have like 30 minutes to spare, I'll just log into YouTube and just like put like type beat, like J. Cole type beat, Drake type beat, and then I'll listen to that beat and then I just start like vibing to it, and then I'll start writing. I'll just open up notes on my phone and I'll start just writing to that beat. And what I like to do even more is I like to like create these hypothetical scenarios where let's say that I'm a drug dealer and I have a daughter and then she died or some shit like that. You know, like some deep shit.
Put yourself in that perspective.
I like putting myself in the most incredibly horrific scenarios possible. And I think that helps me exercise my empathy muscle, you know? Because we get so caught up in like our day-to-day lives, you know, and in our privileges, quote unquote, because if you think about it, like just like I touched on the last episode with Junior, we were talking about how we're very privileged if you think about it, you know, but we don't put that into perspective. And then everybody's always like complaining about how I hate my job. I hate my 9 to 5. Like, dude, like at least you have a job. Like you're living in the US right now. You have so many possibilities, so many opportunities out there.
You're already ahead of the game. Like
you're already ahead of the like being in the US puts you in front of so many people. And it's not just like me being an American saying that, but it's just factual, you know, like it's literal statistics.
Like, you don't have to worry about getting into the shower and you don't have water.
Or getting killed every day.
Yeah.
Or getting
Well.
fucking calm down. But at least, like, a lot of countries in Africa, like, people wake up with the solemn mission of, like, trying to stay alive.
Like, today might be my last day.
And trying to survive. It's like, today, if I don't get food, this might be my last day.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's fucking crazy to me. And those people, like, they have, like, an insane level of faith, I think. And that's another thing that fascinates me, is just our ability to, like, believe in something else. And that leads me to another question that I ask every single guest.
I heard it with Edgar.
What are your thoughts on religion?
I'm about to lose mad followers.
It's like, Satan.
Funny thing is, I went to a Catholic school.
Really?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because I'm not an atheist.
Yeah,
I'd say that I'm I forget the term in English. I know it in Portuguese.
Say it in Portuguese.
It's called agnóstico.
I've heard it. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think I've known
it's,
people to there.
It's someone that doesn't deny the existence of something bigger, but doesn't believe it at the same time. So, like, I'm like open to, like, various different opinions. You know, I like looking into different religions and
I
studying.
believe, like, religion's really, like, perspective. I feel like a lot of people take the Bible really serious, like, too serious.
A lot
like,
of people do that.
I'm like, dude, it's a book. Like, it's like all metaphors almost. Like, it's not
And
like
it's so antiquated too. Like, it's something that was written like how many years ago?
Like, do you really think he turned that water into wine? I don't think that's exactly what happened.
I think it's all just like metaphor. You know,
like, am I really having the body of Christ right now, or having whatever they fucking bought the day before to give to us? Like,
So, but do you see it as a good thing though?
I think it gives hope. But it could also be negative, because sometimes people are always like, whatever God wants, or like, they'd forget they have power. Like, you decide your own life almost. Like, some people just wait for God to, like, give me a house, give me a,
just
like,
knock on
give me
your door.
Opportunities. God will give you that. And I'm like, no. You gotta, like, forget about God in a way. Just focus on what you can do at this exact moment.
Momentary, I come from a very religious family, and I have family members who are just like that, who, like, everything they do, they say, God willing, I'll be able to do this. God willing, this and this and this and this. And I just look at them, I'm like, like, that's not the right way to go about your life. I mean, like, I'm a huge believer and even advocate for, like, taking your own destiny into your own hands and just saying, like, fuck society, fuck what everybody else has pre-established for you, and just, like, if you're not feeling that, then go find something that you'll start, you know, vibing with or resonating with. And most people don't have the courage to do that, because it's very, you know, easy for you to stay stagnant. It's very easy for you to
give up your power in a way, like that control you have. It's easier to give up and let other people take a little bit of control of your life, because then it's like, okay, you're doing like 25% of what I should be doing, you're doing, so I don't have to do that much, and it lifts responsibility off of your shoulders. And I think that that's another thing, like, we hate responsibility. We'll allow other people to do things, because then when shit hits the fan and you're down the road, you became a doctor, something that you don't really like, that you didn't want to become, and you're fucking 60 years old filled with regret, you'll be able to say, well, you know, it was my mom's fault. I'm here because I did it for my mom. You blame other people. You blame other people, and that's what we always do. Is like, we always find something to attach to, you know, and just, like, throw it. Like, nah, you attach that accident you had with Edgar. Shout out Edgar. But it's exactly that, man. And it's just, it fascinates me, you know, just human behavior and just how gullible people are. Yeah, and just I agree with you on that. Because I've been, like, around people who like, there's also a difference between believing that you can do something and setting a path, like sitting down and actually strategizing, actually, like, putting down feasible steps towards that goal. And there's also that person who always has a goal but doesn't have a strategy and a plan to execute on. So that's what I call delusional, right? So it's when you sit down at a table with your friends, and that one friend that always says, like, I'm going to be a millionaire by 24. And then you ask that friend, it's like, all right, so what have you done, or what are you doing to achieve that goal?
and then that person's always like, speechless. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree with you, but I do feel like we all have to start like we're all delusional at first,
Yeah.
because you first start off with an idea, and
Yeah.
then how long or how you continue that and process that depends on the person and how they are. Because it might take a person 5 years to like start an
Actually get
idea.
it. Yeah.
That's because maybe they're not fully feeling it, or they feel like it's such a good idea they're scared to start because they're like, I can fuck it up, so might as well wait till I'm ready.
I think that a lot of people are scared of success too, in a very weird way. Like, I know that sounds weird, but it's just like you said. It's like people are scared to start, even if they have a really good idea, because they're scared of like not being able to like handle success, even
Or failing.
or failing on the way.
Because like
right?
if you don't start it, you can't fail it.
Yeah, and if you don't fail, then you don't
You can
gain
fail
experience.
life in a way, but they don't. We don't think like that. We just think small moments. Like I can't
Yeah,
fail this if I
momentary
don't start
failures.
it. Not the big picture.
I think that like I'd say that I embrace failure in a way, right? Like, I think that it's necessary for you to fail, but if you're gonna fail, like, fail forward.
You see, I think like for most people, they're scared of failure. I think that was embedded to us since we were young. Like if you fail the test when in kindergarten, or, okay, maybe not kindergarten, but you were like, oh fuck. Like,
I wasn't that retarded, guys.
I didn't know my ABC till third grade. Let's be honest. But like if you
see what's that?
if you fail, like the first word is like, okay, my parents are gonna like hate me. They're gonna hate me, right? Especially if they're not they're expecting more from you.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like you're scared of failure. So you try to avoid it.
At all costs.
Yeah, if you can avoid it, like, then why not? Like, they like I don't lose anything, but you don't gain anything. That's the difference.
Well, yeah.
Like, you don't lose anything, but you're not gaining anything, so you're just
sure.
stagnant.
Yeah, and I'd put the blame on just the way that our society is structured, right? Because just like you said, like that's the way that everybody goes about raising their kids. It's like, don't fuck up, and then you'll get this compensation. You know, like I'll give you that video game, but if you fail the test, then and failure is always like villainized, and it's always viewed as this boogeyman that that's always going to be there shadowing over you, and always going to be that that cloud that's going to. But I forget where I saw this. They say that the Chinese culture is actually the opposite. It's cold, right? I'm telling you. So like this basement starts getting cold. They say that the Chinese culture is like the complete opposite of that, and that they actually embrace it and actually like teach. Because I think like that's the way that I'll go with my kids if I ever have kids one day, and I do intend on having kids. It's gonna be like teaching them that it's necessary to fail as well.
That was what I was gonna talk about. Like I feel to a certain extent you learn more from failure than from winning.
Much more.
Yeah.
Much more. And you gain experience, right?
I think you might appreciate winning more. Like when you win, you're like, okay, well, everything I learned before built up to this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But like you learn more from failure. It offers more value, I feel. Because you get more out of it.
Do you think that that's why people are soft nowadays? Is just that they're not used to failing in general? Because like you get into a job 9 to 5, that's all you have to worry about is just getting in on time and getting out at 5. Just clocking in, clocking out.
I feel like people forget they have options. Like once you're you're on this road, they feel like they can't get out. And I'm like, you can just pick a bag right now, go to another country, start all over. Like unless you have like kids, that's like, okay, well that's a variable factor that you have to like think about. But like let's say you don't have to continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
like,
and just hate your job.
Yeah.
Like I literally quit my job. I think it was last week or the week before that. I quit it because to be honest, I wasn't intending on quitting it so soon like I did. But it was just like the things with the whole fiber fitness thing was just accumulating. It was just like so time consuming and so stressful, and that I couldn't really manage both sides. And like that's when you have to take a decision, and it's very hard for you to make that decision. But you have to make it, because otherwise you'll be miserable, and then you'll start stressing, and then both sides will start collapsing, and then you have to like step back and look at both of them and say like, wait, which one is going to give me
happiness,
the most ROI, like the most return on investment of both time, energy, mental energy, everything.
One question. What do you look for more, happiness or money?
That's a tough question.
We just changed FiberCast to Stephen Cat. I'm asking questions now.
But that's fine though. Like that's what I want people to think too, because I don't want people to think. FYI, I don't want people to think that I'm interviewing them. Mm-hmm. You know, I just want this to be like a conversation. Where we just happen to have cameras.
We
filming.
open our minds and just grab something.
It's like you ask me questions, I ask you questions. Like on the last episode, Junior also asked me a question, and I was kind of caught off guard because I'm so used to like coming up with questions.
You feel like you have to control. You don't want it like that, but for the most part, you're like controlling the conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm just waiting to see what you feed me.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want people to think that, because then it also kind of sucks, because then a person comes in kind of nervous and like thinking about like, oh, like what is he gonna ask me? Like,
nah, man, I planned this. I have a script
what are the
and
questions?
everything.
Exactly. So like, if I had a script, for example, like you could have watched like past 3 episodes and known like, all right, so he asks this first and this and this, and then you would be so inside your own head thinking about what your response is going to be,
and my response wouldn't be genuine in a way.
It wouldn't be genuine, and you wouldn't really listen to what I have to say, and vice versa, because I would be concentrated on getting the question out and then listening so I could get my connected, you know. So it's kind of stupid. Like
it's better to go raw.
It's better to go raw, just free flow. And I actually tried this out where I would ask the person, like, start off by tell me what your upbringing is like, right? Like that's a cool question and stuff.
Wait, who did I hear that from?
I think it was from the podcast I did with Vanessa. I think it was the last one, or maybe with Yasmin as well.
You
I
asked
forget which one.
someone and like they answered it, but like
it just
no. It was Jose Torres. Yeah, he did Instagram live. No, not Instagram live. He did what's it called? Instagram TV with this guy Gabe.
Okay.
And he answered the question, but like I felt like he didn't go deep into it. That's where I remember it from.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Asking where you come from so you can understand a person more.
Yeah, but like it's kind of one of those things where, like, with all honesty, like, all right, so none of us are famous, right?
Fuck, just time out. This is what the podcast does to my hair.
Take your time, dude.
Go.
Let me just check one up and see if anybody asks questions.
I mean, it should pop below your pin, right? If they do.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen anything.
No questions.
It's a Friday night, man.
But yeah, man. It's like both of us, like neither of us are famous, right? Like, so what are the odds of somebody wanting to hear your come up story? You know? Because like I kind of believe like if you were famous, it would be different. Like
people
if you were like
people would care, I guess, to see where you came from.
Would have cared because they want to get to the point where you're at right now.
So be like, okay, well, at 18 he struggled, so if I'm struggling, it's fine, it's normal.
Exactly. But since it's not that, then what's the like why?
But I
like,
get why you have to. You're recording the process, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like you don't have to look back. You kind of already have, like, you recorded your life almost.
Yeah.
It's like a documentary, but in actual time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
But you didn't answer my question. Money or happiness?
Money or happiness. I was trying to sway away from it. Let me think. Hold on. Money or happiness. Well, I'd say, can I swap happiness out with fulfillment? Because I think that, like, that's like feeling fulfilled would probably like because I don't think that happiness is an end goal. Like, I don't think it's an end destination per se.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like to have fulfillment, you need to have happiness, at least to a certain extent, of course. You can't be fulfilled and be miserable. Something's missing there. It doesn't make sense. That's not the definition almost.
I think that I'm happy when I feel fulfilled, and that fulfillment doesn't necessarily have to come from money. You know, like it doesn't always come from money. Like, I'm a huge proponent on legacy. Like, that's my main goal is like, if you were to ask me what I value the most, would have to be legacy. And what I mean by that is like the impact that I leave
have on people. Yeah.
Like after I pass like through everybody, like what's their thought on my person? Like, not that I'm like
caring about their opinion,
over worried about how they look at me, but it's just like what
did I bring to the world?
What did I bring to the table?
I get what you mean. Yeah.
And like what value did I add to that person's life, and what impact did I have and stuff.
Because I usually think about that, like, we only have one life. At the end of the day, when I die, like, did I live it to the most? Did I bring the most value to the people that were in my life? Stuff like that. Yeah, I get you.
It's like, how big is your footprint on this earth?
Yeah.
You know?
the reason I asked you that question is because I feel like I've only seen on Instagram and Twitter, people are like, oh, I love money. Like when they ask the question, oh, who are you like in love with? I'm like, I don't know. They just like today, I remember seeing today, oh, I'm in love with that money. And I'm like, money's nice, but like that can be the only thing you're going for.
I can't relate with that. Like, I know exactly what you're talking about. And like all these people, like even girls go on Instagram and then they post like, I don't need a man.
Yeah.
All I need is $1 million. You know, it's like a pizza and $1 million.
Yeah.
Like that's all I need. I'm like, all right, like dope. But that's again, like that's like it's sad in a way.
Yeah.
Because you're allocating all of your value, like all of your like your whole purpose revolves around like materialistic things, you know?
It's good to like it or have it. You can have it. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, like
I think that's something you should aim for as a component of your life, not your life.
Yeah.
Like it'd be part of it. Like you like shoes, okay, buy shoes. Like there's no problem with it, but that can't be the only thing. You have to keep going. Like there's other things.
I think that it should be like a result. Like it should derive from a bigger purpose.
Yeah.
Right. So like, let's say that I get to a point in my life where I feel fulfilled because of the legacy that I've left behind, and maybe like I'm at a point where I'm maybe 6 years old, and you know, like various different fiber fitnesses and stuff scattered across the world, and all of these gyms were able to change multiple lives and stuff, and the podcast picks up, whatever. But I got to a point where I was able and satisfied to like know that, all right, so now I could die knowing that I left a meaningful legacy, right?
I accomplished what I set out to do.
Exactly. So like when I get to that point, then, you know, having money would be like a byproduct of achieving that goal and that purpose.
Wait, what? I'm loving this real talk.
I'm loving this real talk. Hey. All right.
Compliments.
It's real talk, man. It's like don't like put all of your
eggs in one basket, right? No.
All your eggs in one basket too, yeah.
Like you can't just aim for that money, because then you might miss out on a family. You might miss out on happy moments. Like, you know, you're missing out on stuff. I think you have to have a well-balanced life. I think money, for most part, you need it.
You need it.
Because, for example, the number one issue that with divorce is money problems, money arguments, stuff like that. Yeah. I think you can't put too much importance on money. I think you can probably say the most important thing is health. Without health, you can't get other components, right? But I still think money is important to a certain extent. It gives you opportunities too.
No, for sure. And my main objective, like when it comes to the financial side of things, is to have financial stability.
Yeah, exactly.
And financial liberty. So like I haven't traveled the world like you have, but I want to get to a point where I'll be able to like stabilize and not have to worry about like the price of tickets. Yeah, I'll be able to like wake up one day.
Because I'm broke right now.
But like wake up one day and just like think, all right, so I want to go to London today. So then I'm able to hop on a flight and go to London without actually having to worry about like what's in my bank account and stuff, because I know that there's always money there and there's always, you know. So I want to get to that point, but I don't want to be that guy who's like always like, yo, like next year I want to cop a Bugatti. I want to do this. I want to do that. It's like it's too.
I think you have to see, like, for example, the value, whatever you're buying with the money, the value it brings to you. A Bugatti might bring status, might bring you temporary happiness,
momentary pleasure.
Like yeah. But then after that, what does it give you?
It fades off.
Traveling could be the same thing.
Yeah.
Or it could bring you value, and then that moment of happiness, the memories, could carry on later. And well, thanks for enjoying.
Live video ended. All right. You want to go again? But this time go on yours, because then I saved my live, and then now go on yours, and then I'll join yours, and then I'll request it.
I didn't do that now. I don't know how to do this, but go live.
No, go live on yours. Yeah.
Start live video.
And then I'll join. So people who are listening, my live just ended because it's half an hour. The limit for live. Hold up. All right. See you. Then now I'll request it. Let me just see if there's no frequency.
How we doing, Bob?
Hopefully. It's going well. Bob's just like, this conversation.
Yo, these guys are dumbass. It's all about money.
Like, talking about money, shit. All right, I sent you a request.
Fuck, I can't see.
Whoa, hold up. There's a lot of noise going on.
Yeah.
Damn, what the fuck is that? Stop.
Yeah.
All right, stop.
Yeah, we're
We
good.
stopped. All right,
You're in it.
we're good to go.
All right. So yeah.
Nah, yeah, but like that's exactly it. It's like, don't aspire to.
But like you were talking about how you want financial freedom before you start traveling.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people say that, like they need to save up and all that. Eventually, they reach a point in their life, they have kids and all that, and they don't do it.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I mean, right now it's not a necessity, but I feel like you have to balance your life. You can't just worry about saving everything you have and not using it to bring other joys that you have.
Because then you end up not living.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you're just saving your money, but why are you saving your money? Just to say you have money?
And then you're stuck in that rat race, right? Which is like 9 to 5. I'm saving up for my retirement, or it's traveling, or it's whatever.
Like, what's the point of saving up for retirement if you didn't enjoy your life prior to that?
Yeah.
What are you retiring from? Like, you're just.
But if I were to like have to choose between, like copying an expensive car or traveling the world, I would definitely travel the world.
I think it brings more value.
And it brings much more, like in my opinion, like just being able to experience different cultures and different
perspectives.
Different perspectives and just interacting with different people. Because at the same time, like, just like we touched on earlier, we're like this is all we know. Like most people go their whole lives without ever leaving their home state, for example, right? So it's always like that's the only perspective they have.
It's hard to understand people if you don't know where they're coming from.
Exactly. And it's hard to connect with other people on a human level if you never really have that opportunity to know, like, until what end of the spectrum human beings are capable to.
For example, like we were talking about, you can't appreciate having warm water if you don't go to a place that doesn't have it. Like scarcity. That's a luxury for them.
Yep.
So it's like you have to branch out and see how other people live.
And just expose yourself to like different experiences and stuff.
It makes you more grateful. So I feel like people that chase money sometimes have to be like, okay, sit back and see what you have right now.
Yeah. And just exercise gratitude. And that's why I'm a huge proponent of like meditating. You know, it just grounds you. It's like, dude, like a meditation session of just like breathing and focusing on your breathing. Like you realize that like, holy shit, like I'm breathing, like literally it's like, holy shit, like, and then you just focus on like the in breath and the out breath. And it sounds like a lot of hippie talk, like people watching this right now. I just like, dude, these people are on mushrooms and stuff, but nah. But like,
he did offer me that, but
I did before. I took a couple. He didn't. Nah, I'm kidding. But it's just one of those things where you just have to ground yourself and you have to be able to.
Damn, people are running mad shit.
Oh shit!
I can't read all that. Are they flaming me?
I understand the saving money to travel aspect, but I also think there's never an ideal moment. There's always something that will come and stop and from making a choice to
Who said
on
that?
a trip. Maria. Maybe it's better to save for a trip
My sister.
than the moment you have to. Than the moment.
Why you choose? Can you get me some natas? That's my friend. Fuck. Come to the park. Damn, they want me to come to the park. I'll be back. I'm about to go ball up.
I'm just trying to understand what Maria said. Hold on. Will come and stop you from it. Okay, so just so I'm sure that I understood everything you said, Maria. I think she's saying that people like you can't really save up to travel because life happens to you, right? And that's another thing too. It's like we live this life thinking that tomorrow's secured.
Yeah.
Right? Like that to me is the most insane thing. Like I'll stop and reflect and think about that. I'm like, yo, like you literally don't know what's gonna happen in the next 5 minutes. Like, a meteor could hit my house right now and we're both dead.
We can go get food right now and get in a car accident
and just die, right? Or get robbed or get shot at or get caught. Like all of these things can happen. And so my interpretation of her question is like life happens to everybody. So you can't really go with that mentality of like, all right, so I'm gonna save up to like cop that car, or I'm gonna save up to travel.
That's what everything, like I was talking about with ideas, like you wait for the right time.
And there's never a right time.
The best time to do is now, or at least like try to work on it now. It doesn't have, you don't have to make the idea happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if you wait on it, like you're not guaranteed to be able to make the idea come to light.
For sure. Yeah.
So hopefully she made a good point there.
Hopefully that's what
she meant. Fuck, let me fix this. Good.
What do you think?
Good.
Instead of waiting until you're... It's because I can't really make out the words. So
Yeah, because it's vertically.
Security,
No.
You make a little circle to be like... But yeah, so is there any specific topic that you had in mind that you wanted to discuss?
Well, we were on to something. Wait. All right. Well, the money and happiness thing. Like, for example, like with college, I know a couple of friends that, like, I would ask them what they're studying or, like, how's college going? And they're like, well, I'm studying this because I'm, like, guaranteed to make money, or, like, not that many people are working on this or studying this, so I'll make money. I'll have possibilities, opportunities and stuff. I'm like, that's good. That's a benefit that their competition's less in that. But if you don't love it, it's
then
like,
is
why
it really
are you doing
worth
it? Is that the only option? Like, that's the only thing you're seeing is like, well, not that many people are doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
and also that mentality of like, I'm going to college, studying this.
like, I already picture them 30 years from now hating their job, hating their life, might even kill themselves. Like, it's possible.
Waking up every single day and just fucking like looking at the clock and like, fuck, I have to go in, I have to clock in, I have to fucking report to a superior. And like, that's another thing with me. It's like, I can't take that shit, son. It's like, because if you think about it, like, that's what a job is. It's like you're working
For someone else.
towards somebody else's vision.
Yeah.
Right? And that to me is the most wasteful thing that you could do. Like, I understand that it's necessary, right? A lot of people have to go through it, but I do think that working a 9 to 5
You should want
be
more.
something like
want more.
it should be like a part of your life.
I think it's a chapter of your life. But people get stuck in that chapter and they don't finish their book.
And people finish their book, but it's multiple chapters identical to that one. So it's always like the same chapter.
It's like a track,
book.
keep playing and playing. And
it's just like on repeat, a loop, that never ends, an incessant grind. And I think that, like, for example, a 9 to 5, if your dream and passion is playing the guitar, then fucking from like when you get off of work to when you go into work again, like, find time, manage your schedule, practice, create a YouTube channel, reach out to other musicians, like, grind and try to connect and network.
I feel like people don't do that because by doing that, even just that small step, you're working towards another goal that could bring failure. And like I told you before,
and then they're
trying to avoid that. They're like, well, if I can't fail my 9 to 5, the only way it fails is if I get fired.
Yeah.
So as long as I get that adequate, like, level of effort into my job, I'm good. Like,
yep. And people are scared of criticism too, which comes full circle with that whole soft thing. Like, people are soft, like, people don't have strong skin anymore. Like, if somebody, look, if you get,
everyone's about to call us ugly in the chat, in the comments. They're about to call us ugly just to criticize us.
Nah. But if you go, if you get 50 positive comments and you get one comment that says that your shit sucks, that one comment is gonna stick with you. You could get like a fucking like everybody's telling like, yo, like, you're amazing, you're awesome, I love, this and that, and then that one comment that's like, it's alright.
Yeah.
And that it's alright like haunts you forever.
Yeah. It's like, why did you say that? Why didn't you react like everyone else did?
Exactly. And then you start like criticizing yourself and you start doubting your own potential because of that one person. So because that one person was deploying and kind of putting their insecurities on you, because that's another thing. A lot of people, for example, like, they might say like, oh, like, fuck your podcast. Like, who the fuck are you to think that you can start a podcast? Like, I won't hear that person because that person is only projecting
they're coming
their
from
own
hate.
insecurities. Yeah. And then, like, that's what people do. Like, they project their insecurities onto people who are actually aspiring and trying to move forward and trying to move the ball forward and trying to grow in life and trying to prosper and grow, And that's what I learned. Like, again, those people are hurting. Those people are suffering.
You can't please everyone.
You can't please everyone. And if you set out to please everyone, you've already lost, in my opinion. Like, that's a sure way for you to fuck
trying
up.
to please the most amount of people, like, I feel like at the end you're trying to please people or at least give value to them. So give as much as you can. You don't have to worry about giving it to everyone.
Yeah. And that actually leads me to another thing. It's like, especially now in this age of attention, in this age of social media, everybody kind of feels like, they have to, like, that they owe something to someone. in a sense where there's just like so many eyes on you now. So if you have an Instagram account and maybe your new hobby is making beats, right? And then you buy your first keyboard, and then you post like a track that you made and stuff. And I think that, again, if that one person comments a negative comment on your video of you like trying out this new passion and this new hobby that you actually feel like you find like, damn, I finally feel good at doing this.
I feel alive.
I finally feel alive. Like, I hate fucking working at McDonald's and stuff, but every day I get home, I just start playing my shit and I just find myself again. And then you see that one comment and then you're like, fuck, like maybe that person's right. Because you're already at a point where like you're confused already.
You're taking a different path. And that comment is like, fuck, I should go back to where I was doing. Like,
you're taking a risk.
Yeah.
And what you want is more security. What you want is more people saying like, yeah, like go you know, like fuck, yo, like that shit's tight. Like,
I always get people asking me, why do you care so much about your pictures and shit? And like, why do you put so much focus on it? And I'm just like I just laugh. I'm like, you won't get it. Like, it's just simple. It's
passionate, right?
Yeah,
like it's just passion. It's just something that comes
if you don't get it, it's probably because you're stuck on a different path. Like in a way, you don't know what you don't have that same emotion, that passion for something. You don't really have it, or you haven't found it. I mean, it's fine. I told you, people are in different stages of their life.
And I think that we shouldn't like expect things from other people, if that makes any sense. Like, keep your expectations as low as possible, because just like you said, like, you're passionate about photography, about men's fashion. Don't expect everybody that follows you to like have that same passion, because they won't. You know, like, people will probably, like, some people that follow you maybe hate men's fashion. I mean, maybe they fucking.
I feel like, for the most part, for myself, I might not like. Let's say I'm not into fitness, right? So your content doesn't relate to me in that way. But I'll still appreciate the passion, the grind you put, and the like. You see a person's passion when they work on something that, like myself, I appreciate from people. Even if I'm not 100%. Into what you're doing. Like, I'll follow a girl's makeup page if she tells me to follow. Not because I care about it, just because
of the work
I like the work, I like the passion, I like how she's trying to take a different route or something. So that I'll appreciate. So that's just me. Maybe some people are like that too. I feel like if you're passionate about something, you appreciate other people's passion.
But that's exactly where most people draw the line. It's like, you're on the positive side of things, where you actually view other people's hustle and grind, and you interpret it as being a positive thing, right? And then as opposed to other people, they deploy hate and envy, and then people are like fuck that kid,
because they're going a different route than you're going.
Because they feel forced. They feel like that, like trapped. Like, that's the only thing that they've known their whole life.
I can kind of relate to that, because let's say like you see someone passionate about something, and then you're like, well, I'm not passionate about anything. I work my 9 to 5. I come home, I eat, and I watch TV, and the next day I keep going. And like, you don't have anything you're passionate about. So when you see someone passionate about something, you're like, fuck, what about me? Like, what am I supposed to do?
Like, I should be like that person, but I'm not.
That's why I'm like really, I find like finding yourself really important, because I feel like a lot of time in our life, we're just focused on what we have to do. We have to go to college. We have to make money. We have to save up. But like, when are we going to take some time to focus on ourselves?
Yourself.
Like, I recently watched this movie. It's with Leonardo DiCaprio, Revolutionary Road. And he was working. He wanted to live in Paris, right? He was in the military. He wanted to go live in Paris. He worked like 10 years with his wife. Like, he was just working a 9 to 5. He hated his job. And her goal was for them to move to Paris. She would work, and he would just stay home and find his passion. And when I heard that, I'm like, okay, that sounds a little crazy to think about, but like, the way they focus on him having to find his passion to be happy so their relationship could work, I think that's something we should all focus on, trying to find what makes us happy. Even 100%. If you're happy today, I feel like you can never be too happy. In a way,
100%.
You could continue to find yourself.
100%.
Like you like making music, like that makes you happy. Even if you might not do anything with it, it makes you happy, and you wouldn't have known that if you didn't pick up a pen and start writing.
If you didn't try, And also, it's like, I make these songs, and I literally have like a folder where I have like all of these like complete songs that I make. But I make them for myself. Right, so it's not like I'm posting like all of them on my page and like putting myself and just making myself seem like I'm an artist. Like that isn't important to me.
It's a way to express
not my
yourself.
objective too. It's like I have a very firm end goal set, right? And then like everything else, you know, that I do that's like pleasurable to me, I keep it to myself because I don't depend on outside validation.
Yeah.
I don't depend on people. Like occasionally I'll post like a song on my stories and then I'll just ask people because I'm curious to know if people like the story and the whole
I don't think that's looking for validation. That's just trying to see what people think. It's like just you're not looking for validation. You just want to see people's opinions. Yeah. To see what you can gain from that in a way. Like because if they're saying it's good, but you can do this to improve, well, you learn something new. Yeah. Just by asking people their opinion, you can learn something new.
And I think that that's something with like every creative person too. It's just like every creative person wants like kind
feedback.
of welcomes feedback if it's positive or negative. Yeah. Because the most successful creatives are those that actually pursue negative feedback because they're curious to know like, all right, so like that actually makes sense, you know, like, oh, like do this differently, and then you take it, you process all that information through your,
and you look at your craft at a different way. You're like, okay, well now I see that mistake, now I just have to see how I can solve it, or if I want to solve it,
or
too.
if it's
like if that's just what they don't like, that doesn't mean I don't have to like it.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, because that's their opinion as well.
But
so
at least you appreciate it. You see their point of view, and then you can decide what to do with that.
Yep, and that's exactly what I do. Like I just put out occasionally, and then because I found like that song pretty cool and that story pretty cool, so then I just want to see if if that resonates with other people the way it resonated with me. Yeah, it's like I felt it on a deep level. I want to know if people also do. Yeah. And like that kind of connects to the whole like connecting on a human level. Because like this podcast, for example, like this is a way. Like how many times have you been approached by quote unquote a stranger, right? Because before this, we've never hanged out before, never saw you before, and like a complete stranger just invites you to come to his basement, sit down for an hour in front of cameras, lights, and just talk about random shit. And Bob's right there. Look at Bob. Shout out Bob. Bob's wearing a t-shirt. But yeah, man, it's like
blink twice if I'm kidnapped.
Blink twice if you need help, Steven. But that's like, like in today's age, like that's unheard of. Yeah. Like sitting down with, like even with your like best friends and your closest friends, like how many times have you actually sat down without a phone, like looking at your phone all the time? Like right now we're on Instagram Live, so we're just occasionally checking it, but most of the time it's just engaging, right? It's like that's what I feel is missing, and that's why I really want to do this podcast, because this for me is like it's pleasurable. Yeah, I like to connect.
You're
with
gaining something from it.
I like engaging.
And you're giving something.
Exactly, and like I'm not doing it only to like I want to grow this podcast. Like that would be cool if it grows, because then it'll reach other people, and then it could resonate with somebody, right? Like so maybe let's say that you went through a phase of severe depression.
I did.
You did?
The definition of
in
severe, but
But all right, so
like Kanye said, I thought about nah.
Really?
Nah, I didn't. Not to that point.
But let's say that you did, and there's a kid in fucking Wyoming right now listening to this, and he's our age, and he's 19 and stuff, and then he's like, oh shit, so he also thought about that. And maybe that same kid has a fucking passion for fashion too, and then he starts following you, and then he sees you as an inspiration. Like I think Alex Costa probably got a lot of those people, like his reach now, like he's famous, quote unquote, Instagram famous, but like that's what influencing people is. And I think that when you are able to establish a positive impact,
I feel like that word influencer has a bad rep.
A bad rep,
especially for people that don't I guess understand it maybe. Like they just think that's a waste of time, or like that's not the path I'm going for the 9 to 5. So that influencer life is like odd. It's not gonna last, or it's just dumb. Because they don't see it. They don't see like what they bring. Like
because it's a novelty to it, right?
It's new.
It's something unheard of. Yeah. Like your mother, your father, my mother, my father, my grandparents are probably like, what the fuck is this? Like
I did get in an argument yesterday with my mom about that.
Yeah, but dude, like think about it. Today, people are being paid to be themselves. Yeah. Think about that. Oh shit. Think about that. Like you're being paid to be yourself,
or to portray something to people,
Yeah.
I mean, the goal is to be yourself, but ultimately, let's be serious.
I think that you start out being yourself, and then once you start picking up, because there's so many people for you to please, and for you to resonate with.
Sometimes you forget what the goal is, and you just think of what's the best way to take it. Like, if I act this way, more people will appreciate it, so let me just do that.
Yeah, and I think that's inevitable, really.
Yeah, that happens to everyone, I feel.
And then, like, what varies, I'd say, is, like, the degree of the turn that you make, right? So if it's, like, if it's too much of a drastic turn, like, let's say that you follow up a guy who's extreme left, like he's extremely liberal, and then he becomes famous, and then he's like pro-Trump, you know, like that's like, whoa, it's like what the fuck, like where did that turn come from?
But I think that's fine. Not the pro-Trump. I'm saying like that change is fine because we're in different, like I told you, different stages. One day I hate the color yellow, the next day I can like it. Like 100%. Changes, and it happens.
And I saw that actually. Do you know about the Joe Rogan experience? Yeah, so Joe Rogan, like a lot of people criticize him and talk about how like, Joe Rogan, like before when you started, you were, against this and that and this and that. And then Joe Rogan even addressed this on one of his episodes. He said like, I'm a human being. Yeah. You know, like he has literally like more than 1,000 episodes, 1,000 interactions with other people for like over like an hour, 2 hours, like 3-hour episodes. So like you change, like I'm a huge believer. I forget who said this. If you know it, that a man will never bathe in the same water twice.
That's true.
Right?
I mean, I hope.
Because both the water changed and both the man changed. Like even on a chemistry level.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
Like you aged.
I'm not the same person I was when I came.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So we sat down here now, and then like after this conversation, we actually engaged and stuff, and we acquired information about each other, about different things. Maybe you have a different, vision now.
We're always
Maybe
changing.
So it's constant.
So like the Earth's always rotating. We're always changing.
Exactly. And like I believe in that. So it's like, of course you're gonna change. Like, and then it's deep, right? It's deep shit. And then like that's why I hate it when people criticize other people. It's like, oh,
changing,
like you got money and now you changed and now you don't talk to us anymore. It's like maybe that person,
priorities changed.
That relationship wasn't healthy for them, or maybe you didn't bring
or
value
that time they were invested in that relationship, they decided to invest in something else, and that's totally fine. Yeah, your priorities change, and
that's a choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's an individual choice.
You might not like it, but I think you have to respect people's choices.
Yep.
It's their life.
Speaking of relationships, what's your opinion on because I'm a firm believer in that you're the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of rubs off on you.
I've heard that so many times. And
whether you
I
like
agree
it or not.
with that. I'm about to lose mad friends right now.
No, it's fine, dude.
No, I agree with that. I sometimes feel like people, like they're friends with people because when you hang out with them, you laugh, like you're used to it. You guys have been friends for a while, but then sometimes you have to sit back. What value are you bringing? Like where are you going and where am I going? Sometimes I think of that. Like none of my best friends are on this, so I can see whatever the fuck I want. I used to be too close with my 2 best friends since I was young, and I started college and I stopped talking to them.
Because maybe they went down a path that you didn't want to go down?
I did it. They kind of hated me almost for it.
Really?
Yeah, like I just stopped talking to them. And I would see them maybe like, one of them I saw once a year. And I would tell him, I'll be like, I'll see you next year. And he's like, stop fucking around. Like,
and then it would actually happen.
Yeah, and like I hung out with him like a few weeks ago and I was like, it's been exactly a year. And then I told him after we left, I'll see you like in 8 months. He's like, stop fucking around. And I'm like,
damn.
And it's not nothing against them. I feel like when I did that, when I faded myself away from them, it wasn't that I didn't like them. It wasn't that I'm different. I feel like I just needed to focus on myself. I did that to a lot of people. I would just 100%. Have temporary relationships with people like, let's hang out, or but like I didn't want anything too like demanding. I didn't want to have a real friendship. Like I'm there for you. I want to be there for myself first.
Because, damn, that's deep.
Yeah,
that's deep right there. And I agree 100%.
Like with relationships, I feel like you can't have a solid relationship if you don't have a good relationship with yourself.
With yourself first.
Yeah, like as selfish as that sounds, you have to worry about yourself first before you can help other people.
I'm 100%. That's why on planes you always put your gas mask on you first and then on the child next to you, because you can't help people.
I've never been on a plane that's falling.
No.
Yeah, I know what you mean, though.
Yeah. But that's what they advise, and it makes sense. Like, what help are you going to be to others if you're fucking unconscious and passed out? You know, like, and I believe in also because I've been through this phase myself, in isolating yourself for a short period of time. Right? And just isolating yourself and like not going to parties and not going out and not being a good friend. Yeah. Quote unquote. It's like, I have friends that I don't really reach out and I don't really talk to on a day-to-day basis. But when we link up, you know, like it's just that connection, you know, because it's always there and that you know it's real.
Memories or stuff. Sometimes I feel like a lot of relationships are, you keep that because of memories, not because of what they bring now. It's just like you living through the past. And not the future you can have with that relationship, friendships, family, all that.
Especially when those people are actually living in the past, where like you've evolved in a sense. Like, I don't want to say that you became better than anybody, but you've evolved as a human being. Like, you've changed for better or worse. It all depends on perspective, but you've changed. Yeah. And then you meet that person again, and that person's the exact same way. That person's still stuck at that job. Yeah. That person's still using drugs.
And that's not bad that they're still the same, but maybe that's not what you want, or like it's just that thought, that feeling like I can't be here keeps coming, and you just have to do what you think is best for yourself at the end of the day.
There's no value to be attributed here, and there's no value to be, you know, absorbed, I think. And I think that that's huge. Like, I would much rather like walk my path alone than accompanied by the wrong people, because like those people could like derail you. That's easily.
What I was talking about, how like a lot of relationships are all based on memories and time. Like, I know couples that are unhappy with each other, but since they've been together for so long, they're like, well, we'll fix it. Like, if you're not happy, or like, hit me up if you're not happy.
That's miserable. Hit me up. Shout out. All the ladies out there, you know. But that's fucking miserable. I mean, like, feeling the obligation to be with somebody.
Yeah, you feel obligated. Like, okay, well, we've been friends since I was 5. I have to be friends with you until like unless you do something horribly wrong to me. But no, like, people change. Yeah. One day you're one person, another day you're another person, and that's fine. Like, it's not a problem. I think change is good.
And it's constantly like morphing and shit, you know. Yeah. Because like I've gone through that as well, where like I've been friends with people, you know, like ever since I was a kid or high school, and then like nowadays maybe like I don't feel like that's the right move for me, you know, because I feel, and again that gut feeling tells me like don't, you know, like just hold off a bit, you know, and you'll find, because I also believe that and this is gonna sound extremely douchey too, but it's really not. Like, if you think about it, I think that the parties, the people, the networking opportunities, everything's better at the top. And what I mean by at the top, I don't mean at the top like in a very douchey way, like, oh, like in my Beverly Hills mansion and shit. No, it's like at the top of your potential. Like, when you are able to allow yourself to build up to what you're capable of, and you actually start feeling like, damn, like I'm actually at a point in my life where I feel fulfilled. I feel like I'm running off of purpose, right? As opposed to all of these friends of mine who are chasing money to buy the new pair of Jordans or some shit.
Or they're just not chasing anything. Like, they're just
not chasing everything.
Like, their life is just going at a straight line. Like, there's no
They're just living
ups, there's no downs. Like, there's nothing. I wouldn't say boring, but it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah. And they're just like numbing themselves from it too, right?
They're just going with the flow.
Yeah.
Like, they're not
the crowd mentality.
Yeah, they're not like trying to do something, if that makes sense.
Exactly. And again, when you reach that point, you start seeing that a lot of other people are also at that point too. So then again, you meet other people who are passionate about that. So let's say that your brand, you know, builds up and you become famous and stuff, and then you get the opportunity to meet with Alex Costa or with other men influencer, you know, fashion influencers and stuff. It's like, that's your circle now. Yeah. Like, those people are actually passionate about what they do because you see the effort and you see where they got to. So like, when you get to that point, I, for one, understand if, for example, if I'm stuck at the bottom, if you don't want to talk to me anymore, you know, but most people don't understand that. And then they kind of criticize you for doing that rather than looking at themselves internally. Yeah. So turning towards yourself. Yeah. And then most people aim their gun at, you know, at those people.
They blame you, or they're like, you're fake.
Exactly.
And I don't think that. I think, again, people change. I think you should just appreciate the memories you have with someone and understand that people change. People take different paths. I'm always, I think I'm a good friend in a way. Like, I might not keep contact with you. I might not hang out with you as much as before or whatever. Yeah. But if you need something, I think I'm a good person. I'll just be there for you if anything.
Yeah. No, 100%. You know, and I think it's very necessary for you to just look at yourself in the mirror, man, and just fucking, you know, and just fucking like be honest with yourself too.
I'm about to go do that right now.
Really?
No, I'm joking.
No, because I thought that you wanted to go to the bathroom because I'm about to go to the bathroom.
Low key, I've been holding it in for half an hour.
If you want to go, I could, you know,
right, you know,
continue here.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Sorry, fans.
So just go. Yeah.
Oh, I just leave?
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah. Just go and I'll just continue just entertaining people.
Where's the bathroom? Upstairs, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, guys. So he's gonna go take a leak right now. I hope you guys are enjoying this. If you have any questions, just leave a comment below. This is a podcast. It's called FiberCast. You can find it on iTunes. Just go there and click on, you know, FiberCast. Once this one is finished with, I'll upload it. Let me just read and see if there's anything. And if you guys have any questions, just shoot away and we'll just, you know, any topics too that you guys want to see us discuss, feel free to comment. And yeah, let me see if there's anything. Steven went to take a leak right now. The one person you inspire removes the negative one. 100%. I agree too. I agree that inspiring other people is priceless in my opinion. Like, in my humble opinion, like, that's like, there's no greater feeling than being able to know that you have an impact on somebody else's life. And that's what I told Steven. I told him, like, I'm huge on legacy specifically, you know, like, I'm a huge proponent and advocate for leaving a valuable and meaningful legacy, in a sense where I care a lot about the positive impact that I have on other people's lives that I've met on this crazy journey that we call life, right? That everybody's kind of lost. Everybody doesn't really, like, nobody really has it all figured out. And I think that the one thing that you can be assured of is when you establish that connection and you actually connect with somebody and you know, and it's meaningful.
Talking to yourself?
Huh? No, I'm talking to the live right now.
Alright, I'm not judging you.
Technically by myself, but I'll just try to hold the ball.
Steer.
With Bob here, yeah. I was telling them about, I think it was Maria. She said that the one person that you're able to inspire removes that one negative person tenfold.
That person who changed their life means more than the person
you're able
who's
to change
criticizing.
100%. But yeah, do you have another subject? Just shoot.
I thought about that while I was.
All right, take it a bit. Yeah.
Relationships, because remember when we talked about it through DMs about you. I forgot what you said. You can't be in a relationship right now with a girl. Oh yeah. You said something about that, and we talked about different stages and all that.
Oh shit! I don't know why that happened. What up, guys? The frequency's fucking up again. Hold up. Yeah, so when this happens, I have to
end it.
Yeah, end it, and then I'll join it again. But before I do that, just entertain people real quick, because I'm gonna go take a leak.
Oh, this is hard. I don't know how to do this.
What?
It's too much pressure. This is my first podcast.
Just talk to people and say, like, yo, like, if you guys have any questions.
I'm dead ass about just do a hair routine. Like, I'm just going.
Nah, yo, just look into it.
No one's asking questions. No one cares about my life, man.
Just ask them to, like, ask topics.
Ask questions. Ask topics. What do you want to know? Side talks.
All right, so what was the question that was asked?
Relationships.
What about it? If you're...
I mean, what we talked about.
Oh, yeah. All right, so I kind of did a quote-unquote rant where I talked about, like, I kind of wanted to share with people my opinion on this, because a lot of people, like, I get asked this a lot, like, why don't they ever see me dating? Like, why don't they ever see me, like, having a girlfriend and shit? And I kind of got, like, pissed at that, because
why do I need that?
Like, why do people feel like that's a necessity?
I feel like most people, like, they think about, like, I'm missing a relationship instead of I have a relationship. Yeah. Like, people feel like they're missing it, but it's not something you need. Something, if you have, you have. If you don't have it, you don't have it.
It just happens naturally, right? Yeah. And the moment that you try to force it with like Tinder and all that shit, and you like actively pursue it.
Some people feel like they need it to be happy. That's
exactly. 100%. And I think that just like we touched on before, it's all about like having priorities. So this kind like so the whole friend thing kind of applies to this as well.
Yeah.
Where if you have like a well-established concrete priority and all you see is that goal, like that's how I feel. Like I wake up every single day, everything I do, I'm like 100% tunnel vision. Like that's all I see, the end goal.
That's the focus.
So like everything else to me is a distraction.
Yeah,
almost every like to a certain extent.
I don't know if I would have used the word distraction. I probably would have used different influences, maybe.
Sure.
Because they could be good distractions. They could be bad distractions.
Yeah, because everything's impactful, right?
Yeah.
Like, so everything will impact you.
Everything affects that goal. If you get into a relationship and you start investing all your time to that, the goal starts to crumble.
That's exactly what I start talking about. It's just like, for me to get into a relationship right now, it would have to be with a girl that has her own shit going on.
Yeah.
You know why? Because then she could relate to my grind and to my hustle. Because she's on her own grind, her own hustle.
Yeah.
If I get a girl who all she does is fucking every single weekend, she's at fucking Barcode, she's at fucking clubbing in fucking New York City and shit, and like that's all she does with her life, I can't deal with that.
Yeah,
because then she'll expect the same from me.
And then she won't be happy. And that will cause problems. But at the end of the day, it's not a problem. It's just you're yourself. I'm myself, and that doesn't connect.
Just different circumstances altogether.
Yeah.
You know? So
it's all about, I think a relationship is all about connections. Like you have to connect 100%. With that person. You both like I'm gonna quote Will Smith. I don't know if you heard about this. He said he's retiring for making his wife happy. I don't know if you saw that video.
He said that?
That shit stuck to me. Because I'm like, what? He said that her happiness is her problem. Like, you control your happiness. You control your happiness. Let's say I'm in a relationship. She controls her happiness. I control my happiness. And she's on her path. I'm on my path. And we decide together we're going to walk together on our different paths.
Wow.
So I can't control your happiness. I can make you happy. I mean, fuck no. I can make you laugh. I can make you, like, all those different emotions, but I can't make you happy. At the end of the day, you control your own happiness. If not, then the relationship won't work.
And that makes 100.
Yeah.
Yo,
that shit hit me. Yo, Will Smith's killing it, yo.
Will Smith's on some different shit right now.
Like,
so, like,
I'm like,
literally,
damn. When he said that, I was like, shit.
He's down, like, all of the shit he said. No, but I agree 1,000% with that. And
yeah, like, because people, like, get into a relationship and they're like to their what's it called, couple, like their partner. Their partner. They're like, make me happy, kind of like that. I feel like a lot of people are like, you need to make me happy, and I'm like, no, you gotta fucking do that shit yourself. Like,
they go into the relationship with high expectations,
or they feel like they need it.
Like it's a
I don't get it.
Yeah, I think that most people go into relationships with a void. Like they
avoid to fill,
they're empty inside.
Like, I can't make myself happy, so you do it.
And they need somebody to fulfill that
because they don't want the responsibility
to do it themselves. So it all comes full circle, and that's exactly. And also, like, your priorities and your objectives and your ideologies have to resonate, right? Like, you can't be a liberal person that is engaged with a Trump supporter. Like, that will be a chaotic marriage if it lasts at all, right? Like, if you guys, so your ideas have to kind of synchronize. Like, okay, like, let's say that Will Smith's wife, I forget her name.
I know how she looks like. I forget her name.
I know how she looks.
Her movies and stuff.
I think it's Jada Pinkett. Jada. I don't know. But
I don't know.
Will Smith's wife and Will Smith, they obviously and probably most likely have different goals and different,
viewpoints and different everything.
And different ideologies.
You can't have everything the same, because at the end of the day,
exactly
that doesn't work, I think.
Because also it makes the relationship boring, I think, too.
Yeah.
Because I think that, like,
because, like, let's say, this is like very basic, but like I like vanilla ice cream, you like vanilla ice cream, and you like soccer, I like soccer. It's like, I don't know, you be your own person. Don't just like what I like. I feel like a lot of relationships, one person in the relationship like just starts liking everything that another person likes, and they lose their individuality. And that causes problems because either that person who did that, eventually in that relationship will start feeling empty and start feeling like I'm not my own self or not happy. And then when they break up, they're in a period of being lost. They're like, I gotta find myself. So you're always seeing people having to find themselves after a relationship.
That's why most people kind of resort to
they go
alcohol,
to barcode every week.
barcode every week, and they kind of like drown out their sorrow.
They find themselves at the end of the bottle.
Yeah, or they don't. Most times they don't, and then they rinse and repeat in hopes of finding it one day. And then
or distract themselves from having to find themselves.
Escapism, like it all comes down to escapism. And I think that point that you just brought up, it's like if I were in a relationship with a girl who like has like is like me but a female version of me, I wouldn't want to take that. Like personality wise, like I wouldn't want to take that because like that to me would become boring very quickly. You know,
challenge me. You have to challenge me in a way.
It's cool at first. I mean, like it's like holy shit, like I found this person that likes the same exact things. But then if you're like looking into going with into a relationship, like that person has to have a little bit of novelty behind certain things and certain aspects of their
different
being,
opinions, everything.
Because that's constructive and that's what generates evolution and that's how you evolve as a human being. Is through, for example, branching off of relationships and just like like friendships and stuff and just communicating. This podcast, just like we said before, it's like you'll like get out of this table with something different. You've changed after this conversation. And that happens in relationships, I think, too. Is anybody saying anything? Yo, ask us questions, propose any topics that you guys want to hear us talk about. We'll go deep, and we're going deep right now.
Word, I'm being 100% honest right now.
No censorship, no anything.
This is the only time I want to be honest in my life.
In your whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So that kind of covers relationships. And that's why I kind of feel like,
Another thing about relationships, I feel like a lot of people want to find their true love right now. Like, just right now.
That urgency and stuff.
Why? Like, I don't know.
Just
why are you in a rush?
I'll tell you why. Because people want to be able to just hit up their partner just to fucking smash real quick. Like, yo, like I'm in an urge to fucking have sex right now, so that's why I'm in a relationship. It's just like whenever I need that, booty calls, boom.
Yeah, no, but right there. I don't know, like some people just want to like find the one right now and that's it. And I'm I sometimes think being in relationships and them failure is good. Even if you fail in a relationship, you learn something from it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel like being able to fail in relationships helps you later on when you find the right person.
100%.
Because you at least have experience, and then that helps you.
And then you know what not to do or what to do.
I think at the end of the day, from relationships, you might learn less from the person, but learn more about yourself in a relationship.
Okay.
You get me? Like you learn how you are in a relationship.
Yeah.
So when you find that right person, you'll be more like mature in a way. I guess I say mature, but you know what I mean. Like
yeah.
You'll know what,
Yeah. But that thing that you also just brought up, like that's something that I think about a lot is like I see a lot of these girls our age who are already like knocked up and pregnant and stuff or married already or dating like these older guys because these older guys have like a BMW or these older guys have this and have that. And like those girls, like I feel so sorry for them, in a way where it's like you're throwing your life away hoping to find fulfillment in
someone else, not in yourself.
It's like you're at a part of your life where you should be investing and looking inwards rather than staying all the way on Instagram talking about how I need to find the perfect guy. Like, the perfect guy, like it's...
You need to find the perfect you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Find you first.
Yeah.
Before you set out searching for anybody else.
Yeah.
And
that's why a lot of relationships fail because you're looking for someone instead of looking for yourself. Like I said, you can't form a great relationship unless you feel comfortable in your own skin.
Of course.
You get me?
Yeah. And I feel like as well, like they set out to search for something that they will never find. Because...
And then they'll eventually just stay with the person that they thought was that or something. Yeah. And then in like 10 years, they'll get a divorce. If they had a kid, that causes that. And then it's just an unhappy life.
Yeah. Because I kind of look at it in a way where, let's say that everybody's their own puzzle. Like those like piece puzzles where everybody's their own puzzle. And then you have that one piece that's missing. But that one piece that's missing is so unique to you. Like, everybody's their own puzzle. Like, no human being
has the same puzzle pieces. Yeah.
And then, like, when you're losing that one piece, you won't find that one piece in other people.
Yeah, like what you're saying about that, I feel like most people will say they have 90% of their puzzle finished, and they're missing that one piece. And they're so eager to finish that puzzle that they'll just put a piece that's almost perfect, but it's not.
That's good.
And then eventually you'll realize it's not, and you should have waited. You should have been patient, and you find the right piece.
And then maybe because you did that, when you do find the right piece, you don't notice it because you're not actively searching for it, or you're not open to accepting that piece. And I think that that's what a lot of people do, man. I mean, I see that a lot, like a lot of these girls who you obviously see that they're in for it, in for like
I
what
see
the
a
guy
lot
has.
on Twitter how people are saying that the what's it called, like the standards are very low. Like if a guy
100%.
compliments you, that's already a plus. Like he's a good, like that should be something normal.
Yeah,
I feel like the expectations are really low.
Really low. Yeah.
Like
And then
if I
people just
open the
accept
car
anything.
door for you, like you should wipe.
Dude.
Yeah, I have to wipe you up right there. Like
Dude.
like
I've noticed that, like, not only with relationships, but just like, again, it's all about like lacking human connection. Like, you'll see, like, if you saw the look on people's faces when I hold the door for them at the gym, like the person's on their way, like coming, and they're a little bit further away, but I still stop. I'll like stare at my phone or whatever and just like wait, and then they'll pass by and say thank you. But like most of them are like shocked. It's like holy shit, like
people still do this.
I don't know how to go about exactly like this. Like, is this still a thing? Like, what is this? And I noticed that, and that fucking intrigues
Like sometimes
me.
if I do that to a girl, they probably think like I'm trying to flirt. Well, I'm just trying to like I don't care who you are. Like I didn't even pay attention to you.
Right. And I've had that occur a lot too. It's like when it's a girl, and just because like maybe she's your age and she's good looking, and
she might think that I did that on purpose because of that.
Because you want to get with her or something like that. And because that girl is probably used to like getting flirted on and getting hit on all the time. Like there's this, like there are a couple of girls at my gym, for example, like you'll always see them there and they're rarely working out because they're always being stopped by different guys, right? And then you see all these guys, like older guys and younger guys, and like everybody's talking to them. And then I always look at that, I'm like, yo, like that must be kind of fucking crazy, right? Like if you think about it. And that's just something that, like, for example, do you pick girls up at the gym?
I can't.
Because, yo, I can't see myself fucking disturbing the peace, like
I just can't. I'm not in that zone. Like,
right?
I just need my music on and I'll just do that. That's it.
I came to the gym to fucking get my workout.
To be honest,
and get
sometimes I hate seeing a cute girl at the gym because it's like for that 1 second you're like, oh shit, she's cute, and then you're like, I don't care though. Like I'm doing this, like not the right time or place.
I feel that all the time,
but I heard on the radio one of these days that the gym is the best place to find someone because your body can't differentiate the emotion of like from the adrenaline you get from the gym from emotions like from a person. Like that excitement you get when you're working out and stuff. If like you're talking to a girl, you attribute that to her, but that's just the working out. Like,
oh shit.
That's why, let's say if you're like a 6 and you're talking to a girl, she's so like pumped from the workout that small conversation you have can just be more meaningful than if you did it at a coffee spot.
Whoa.
That's why I guess more people try to flirt at the gym. I haven't done that.
Wow, yo, and that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because it makes sense. Your body really can distinguish, like, is this, what am I feeling right now? Is that from you or is that from hitting a new PR?
Or maybe you're already at that point where you're filled with adrenaline from the pre-workout, and then just speaking to the girl and just doing something different kind of just adds on to that and keeps that high.
I'll be honest, if I see a cute girl and I'm like benching or something, I'll hit a PR somehow.
Just like, right there on the spot.
It just pushes me. I'm like, fuck that shit. I'm going ham.
Yeah. What do you think about like, I've always been a huge proponent of this. It's like, do you believe that if you're that guy that gives the girl too much attention, that's like too good of a guy, like that nice guy, like nice guys finish last type of thing, as opposed to like, you're not a jerk per se, you're not a fucking Hold on. Like you're like, I'm not saying that you have to be a jackass, you know, like you're a fucking nah, but like I think that there's something to not showing interest, right? Because I've noticed that, and that's like kind of how I go about it, but I don't do it purposefully, like going into the gym and be like, all right, so I'm not gonna give them attention because it's just that, like, again, I'm so driven and focused on that one goal that I just do that as a byproduct. And then most girls even feel offended by it because most guys are fucking like turning their heads and stuff and looking at that cute girl passing.
Guilty.
And I'm just like there, like fucking like, like punching that out, or, you know, cute girl calls you to go out and stuff.
See,
and
I don't think that's negative. Like, why are you expecting me to look? That's expectations. You're expecting me to look. It's like, why? You're at the gym.
Yeah.
Your goal there should be to work out, not for, oh, let me see how many heads I can turn. Like,
but that's what sets you apart, though.
Yeah.
In that girl's head.
Yeah.
Because you're that one guy that didn't give her attention. And it all comes out to that whole thing. It's like 50 nice compliments and that one negative one.
Yeah.
And then it's like 50 guys hitting you up.
I think it's when things don't go in like how it was expected.
Yeah.
That's when that drives your attention.
Yeah.
So her attention goes towards that.
And it's also
because if you expect this water to taste like something, you just drink it and that's it. Like, but if it tastes totally different, like, oh shit, what the hell?
Analyzing it better.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
you put more attention to it.
Yeah. And I think there's more value too because it's unattainable, right? So she's so used to like being able to choose any guy, and then there's that one guy, Callie's there like just pressing and didn't even look at you, and then you're like,
Callie's doing his podcast, he's not messaging you back. Like, what?
Like, I'm not hitting up your DMs for a reason. It's because I'm fucking focused.
Yeah.
But in her head, you know, and a lot of girls kind of take that negatively too. Like they're like, oh, like, that's insulting. You're like, why the fuck didn't you look at me? And I'm like,
see, I don't think that's insulting.
It's not insulting. It's just
like,
it's just.
Did I offend you? Did I like?
Right?
Yeah.
But that's how, like, I think there's a lot to that, you know. And I'm gonna go like complete 180 here real quick. That's my plan with the whole Fiber Fitness gym. It's just, it's that scarcity, you know, that perception, that perceived scarcity, where you want something that everybody else wants. And that's my goal with the gym. It's like, it's to create this movement. And I don't want to talk too much about it because I already touched on it on the last one, but I didn't talk about this though. It's like, I want to create a gym where it's low cost, but it's high value.
Reward.
Yeah, it's just high value in general. So if it's the community, if it's the perceived materials, environments, like maybe I have a waterfall inside the gym that looks like it costs $10,000, but really I only spent like $1,000 on it. You thinking that it costs $10,000 attributes value to the whole experience. So like that's my goal, is just to create this environment where you walk in and you're like, holy shit, like all of this for like only this price. It's like, fuck.
It's sort of like how you said, like the closest 5 people in your life, like that just makes, like if they're on the same path as you or somehow, that just makes you feel elevated.
Yep.
So going to the gym that you feel is what you need right now, or like, like it describes who you are in a way.
Yeah. And that's exactly, and like my objective, because like I always kind of say this and then people don't really understand, but I want it to be the first Apple store.
I've heard you say that.
Gyms
and ever since I heard you say that, I thought about it. I'm like, no gym is the gym.
Is the gym.
Like,
yeah.
Like I think about gyms, I'm like Planet Fitness, LA Fitness. They all are almost like, I think LA Fitness tried to do that in the sense that they try to act like a higher class gym,
a high-end gym,
but eventually it drops. It's still, I guess you could say, a higher class gym compared to other gyms, but
it's still not there.
I think a lot of them are too focused on being just a gym and not focusing on the experience.
100%, 1,000%.
Yeah,
1,000%.
Just because you're a gym doesn't. I mean, everything is about experience.
Yeah. Because if you look at it as a product or service, like it's a place with machines and you go in and you transform, you know. But that's exactly, and I think that the bigger you get, the more you lose touch with your customer base, because there's a saying in business that's like, the bigger you get, the slower you move, right? So if you're smaller, and that doesn't have to necessarily be related to like your actual size, like you could be a Facebook, but the mentality and the culture behind Facebook, if that's like the right mentality and culture, they can pivot quickly and they can move with ease and they can, as opposed to like a huge corporation that if you want to fucking buy a box of pen, you have to go through like all of these steps and stuff. And when I say, just really quickly, when I say about the whole Apple thing, it's because like I have this crazy vision, I guess. It's like I want to create something so crazy and so dope, like a community so strong that people are going to sign up, not because of the gym, but just because of the opportunity to be associated with that
of where
brand.
that gym is going.
Yeah.
What it means, like kind of.
Exactly. And that's what people hunger for.
Kind of like, to describe your gym real quick, would be probably like being the best person you can be.
Yeah.
Even if it's not just gym related.
Yeah.
So let's say like I'm not so crazy about fitness, but I'll still go there because the people that are there want to be the best.
Are like-minded individuals. Yeah. In
so
all aspects of life.
That even forms like a networking. Of course, I mean, you're at the gym.
100%. Yeah, but that's exactly it. It's just like being I don't know if you know about this, and this is actually a pretty cool story. Sorry. Do you know about when Apple was almost going bankrupt? And I think... don't quote me on this, I might butcher this, but I'm not sure if Steve Jobs was out of Apple at that point and then they called him back in, or if he was already in there for a while. I don't know. All I know is that Apple was about to file bankruptcy, and Steve Jobs held this famous meeting with the internal employees of Apple. And they had to like make like a drastic change, pivot drastically in order to make that brand not only survive but prosper. And one thing that he did was, because Apple at one time, like you would be driving down the road and you would see like a billboard advertisement for Apple, and what they would put there is like all of the information of the computer. It's like this computer has like gigabytes, RAM, processing power, whatever. And then you're an average Joe just driving from work, and then you look at that and then you're like, the fuck? So that
your attention doesn't go on it.
And people have short attention span, right? And so that just flies over your head and you're like, the fuck is that? And it was at that point that Steve Jobs finally realized that people don't want to know that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? People don't want to know what machines I have in Fiber Fitness. Like I can have one bench in the middle of the gym, but if I'm able to create a whole culture around that one bench and make like Arnold Arnold achieved his Olympia on that bench. Boom, a line outside just to do a couple of reps on that, And that's what Steve Jobs realized. He created this campaign where he literally got pictures of Einstein, Mahatma Gandhi, Tesla, all of these insanely great human beings.
People, I guess you say, you can look up to.
Yeah, people that literally changed humanity. And all he did was use their picture and really small associated the Apple logo with them. So what he did was he associated the brand with greatness. Yeah. And that changed everything, because everybody that's driving down the road now and sees Albert Einstein with his
That's why people pick Apple, because of that lifestyle.
Because association.
Yeah.
It's just greatness via association. But
most people don't even know what their iPhone can do. Like, they don't care about, like,
it's
most parties just care about
symbol.
the gigabytes and stuff, little stuff. Like, but for the most part, you don't compare two phones like
don't.
exactly like that.
No, because it became a status symbol because of that. It's like, that's greatness. And like, that's what I wanted. Like, that's how I'm gonna like go about, the whole thing. But dude, like, are you into business at all? Like, are you like
technically a business student?
Yeah.
My family has a business, two bakeries.
Do you partake in the process of the bakery?
Yeah.
Or really?
Yeah.
What do you do there? Like, explain a little bit of that.
For the most part, I do invoices and statements. So I'm billing and the customers and all that. Like we export. Okay. Fuck, that was on me. We export to other like supermarkets, other small shops like delis, other bakeries.
Got it.
Yeah, so I partake in that.
What's the name of the bakery?
Korea Bay Portuguese Bakery in Elizabeth. Check us out.
Leave the link below. Do you guys have a website?
I'm working. I mean, we do, but it's not. No, we do. We had they made an old one like a long time ago, but they don't really keep up to date with that. Yeah. So I might.
You guys are updating everything and trying to.
No, I'm gonna take over the website, make a new one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do you have like experience with like internet, like making websites, like
no,
IT? No.
No.
So how are you gonna go about that process? YouTube.
Wix.
Wix.
Yeah.
Wix. Yeah. No. Wix.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's a bakery, so I feel like the website is important, but it's different compared to what you're doing. Like if you're doing e-commerce or stuff like that, it's more. The website drives more complex than for a bakery. As long as the bakery can drive people to go to the place, like the website, that's all that matters to the bakery. But I'm not thinking about taking over the bakery.
No, yeah, for sure. Oh, so
no.
Are you the only child?
No, I have 2 other siblings.
Are they older than you?
Mm-hmm.
So are they going to be taking over the bakery?
My brother says no. My sister says no, but I'm banking on her maybe taking over one. Because she's probably going to be the one who stays in New Jersey.
Okay, why so? Because she's going to study here and stuff?
She has a family. She has a daughter.
Oh, okay.
And I just don't see her. I mean, unless she goes back to like Ecuador. But besides that, I don't see her going anywhere.
Got it.
I don't see myself in New Jersey.
Wow.
So that's one component why I wouldn't really. And
where do you see yourself?
I went to that, but the bakery. Okay, yeah. I feel like that was my dad's dream. You get me? I don't think he loves the bakery. I think he loved that not working 9 to 5, he came here at 21. He worked at a bakery that was his first job in Portugal and here. So he just continued it. He knew it. That's how he got a job. Yeah. But I think what drove him was the entrepreneurship of making something out of like nothing. So he made that bakery. At the end of the day, I don't think he loves it. I don't think he loves. I know right now he jokes around becoming like a photographer or becoming a detective. He always watches detective shows, and I'm like, do it. Like, just like, okay, you're 54, but just fucking do it. You already put my sister and brother through college. I'm almost done. Like, just do it. Like, sell a bakery.
Now, just take care of yourself.
He has 2 bakeries. I'm like, if it's too much work, sell a bakery, and you can have my mom and you take care of 1 bakery, or like, it's less responsibility with just 1, and then branch out and do, like, if you're a photographer, you control your schedule.
And just do it as a hobby.
Start as a hobby, and if it just brings you happiness, do it. If it's something you're passionate about, do it.
Yeah.
But that's why I think that the bakery is his dream. That was his legacy. And I don't want to continue that. Okay. Some people, like if they have a family business, they continue it because they feel obligated to continue the family's legacy instead of creating their own. And I'd rather create my own legacy. I'd rather go through that same experience my dad did of being uncertain, out of his comfort zone, and creating something out of it. It doesn't have to be a business, but creating something out of it.
100%.
Deep.
That was deep as fuck. Yeah.
Oh, so when you say I don't see myself in New Jersey, I joked around, like I've been saying this twice already. I'd rather be living under the Eiffel Tower than having a house in New Jersey. Wow. I'm joking. I'm gassing that up. But I don't see myself in New Jersey. But I want to get out of my comfort zone.
That, right? Like,
there's some truth to that. Yeah. I don't see myself here.
Where do you see yourself?
I want to, like I told you, like my dad came here at 21. I want to be not in my comfort zone. I'd rather just go to a country I don't speak the language, learn it.
Wow.
Like, especially now that like social media, like it doesn't matter where I live almost.
Yeah.
Like,
because everybody's kind of living everywhere now.
Yeah.
Like through social media.
I can live in Spain and have connections here and like still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially now that like there's no such thing as a completely foreign place because everybody knows every place through social media, through YouTube,
I'm not against New Jersey. I just feel like a lot of people only see themselves living here. Yeah, like they feel like that was chosen already. My parents live here. I have to live here. I can't just pick up my stuff and go. But why can't you? They did that. Especially if you're like an immigrant or you come with an immigrant family, they did that. Yeah. Of course, it was a different situation.
Different times.
Because they felt they needed opportunity. But sometimes I feel like if more people left that comfort zone of where they're living, they'll find themselves more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes 100% sense. Yeah, and I actually talked about like a lot about this, and I don't want to talk about it again, but that's what I like saying too. It's like growth is on the other side of fear, right? And discomfort is the only thing that breeds success. Like you have to put yourself out there. You have to expose yourself to criticism.
Seek failure.
To failure. You have to fail forward. And that's one of the things I believe in. It's like everything's an experience. everything is positive in a way, and it all depends on how you see things. Like, that bottle could be half
like you
full
just
or
said,
half
everything is
empty.
positive. Everything is positive if you have the right perspective,
If you have a positive mindset,
like you can
going
take
into it.
failure as a positive thing.
Yeah.
It's up to how you look at it.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. Like, you have to look at things like the cup half full or half empty, kind of.
Yep.
If you look at it half empty
all the time,
then you won't get the value you would get if you think of it half full.
Yeah. And I think that everything's valuable, and we all have, contributing. How much time do we? Yeah, dude. I think that we've been. What time did we start?
I got here at probably 6:20, 6:30. 6:30.
Yeah, so we're like 2 hours in right now. I think that we should start wrapping this up.
Yeah.
Let me just double check and see if anybody on Instagram Live said anything. A lot of people joined though. A lot of people came and went, just like life. Deep
part, like 8.
All right, guys. So that was the episode. I'll have this episode up soon on iTunes. And I'm currently talking to the people on Instagram Live for those of you who are listening. And I'll end the Instagram Live now because nobody's actually talking. I'll just end that. And then end live. And I'll just share this. Fuck it. All right, so we ended this. Okay, so before we end the actual podcast, there's one thing that I am going to be asking every single guest. And that I asked every single guest, I think, up until one point. I forget which guest I started asking this, but essentially, imagine that every person in the world has an earpiece plugged in right now. Everybody stopped what they're doing. Everybody's awake. Everybody's paying attention to you, and everybody's watching you through that camera right now. You're on the world stage, and whatever you say in that microphone will be translated into any language of that person speaks, and that person will understand. So it's in English, but that person will understand everything. And you have this opportunity now to look into that camera and either put out a message, something that you want everybody to think about, a question that you want people to ask themselves, anything you want to say, you have this opportunity to say it right now. And what would you say? And you could think about this a little bit, like, just...
Follow my Instagram.
No. That's probably the realest answer. I ever guys like, follow my Instagram. So listen to that song. Yeah.
That's a good question. I knew you were leading up to that. So many things I think I could say, like.
But just like, don't overthink it. It's
I think the first thing that's coming to my mind right now is create a life you'll be proud of. So any excuse you feel that's stopping you right now, forget about that and just go and create something.
Deep.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think that's
just do it.
Just create something.
Just do it, Nike.
I create memories, create mistakes, create relationships, create everything.
And leave fear at the door.
Yeah.
And just
drop fear and create.
Accept fear, or learn to embrace fear, and just
I don't think you can avoid fear.
Yeah, just face fear head on.
It's an emotion that you can't get rid of, but you can use that to drive you.
Yeah,
for sure.
And embrace it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So with that, I'll be ending this episode. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It was a crazy experience. Like, we literally, I think this is probably one of the longest ones we did that I've done yet, because it says like
no one got hurt in the making
2 hours.
of this.
Nobody got hurt in the making of this, or before this, right? Shout out Edgar. Yeah, man. All right, so that was another episode. Thanks for watching. This, obviously, if you're watching this right now, you're watching it on YouTube. If you're listening, thanks for listening. And don't forget this is something that I haven't said before, and I think it's important for you to address this and tell people, call to action. If you enjoyed, if you got any value from this, please comment below what your opinion was on certain subjects. Leave a rating on iTunes. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the little alert symbol so you're always up to date with everything that comes out. And that's it. And then I'll get this out today, the audio version, and then I'll start editing yours after I finish the one that's, it's starting to accumulate. But yeah. And then I'll also send you highlights as well.
That's
of, like,
perfect.
the main parts that you talked about and stuff, and topics, and I'll put the title, captions and just make it look, decent for the gram or whatever. And then if you want to post it. But all right, guys. So stay tuned for the next episode of the FiberCast Podcast, where everyone is an outlier in their own right because everyone has a story worth telling. We're out.
Deep.
Deep, deep, deep.